Hi, everyone. Welcome to Listeners Beware, a podcast about all things Goosebumps. My name is Gary.
And I'm Ashley.
And today we are talking about book number 16.
One Day at HorrorLand.
HorrorLand. We finally made it.
We made it to HorrorLand. Right? So we have been on that long road.
Yes.
And we have made it to HorrorLand, book number 16, published in 1994. Gary, do you want to give us the synopsis?
I would love to. The next ride might be their last. The Morris family got lost trying to find Zoo Gardens theme park, but that's okay. They found another amusement park instead. It's called HorrorLand. In HorrorLand, there are no crowds, no lines, and the admission is free. It seems like a pretty cool place, but that was before the heart-stopping ride on the Deadly Doom slide, and that terrifying experience in the House of Mirrors. Because there's something weird about the rides in HorrorLand, something a little too creepy, a little too real.
So, you know what I love? Most of these books don't give away too much in the synopsis, but I feel like the synopsis on this one actually, it really does get into a lot of what happens in the book.
It's pretty detailed, yeah.
It is very detailed. There's not much left to the imagination on this one.
Just the twist. That's pretty much all you're missing.
Which, we're used to the twist when we're on the Doom slide.
Oh, twists and turns.
So, first scene, we are introduced to the Morris family. They're driving across the desert and they're trying to find Zoo Gardens. We've got the full family. So we've got Lizzie Morris, Luke Morris, the parents, but we also have Luke's friend Clay, who they kind of position to be a little bit of like a wimpy kid.
Yeah.
He's easily scared.
Mm-hmm. Immediately, you're taken back to being a child on a road trip with your family and the annoyance of all your siblings and your family being packed in this metal tin for 5 hours.
At least.
Yeah. And he describes it very well. I was annoyed.
I felt hot and dehydrated and stuffed just reading it. So well done, RL. You must have done your fair share of family road trips. So, of course, they're lost, and father left a map at home because this is back in the day where my friend's GPS was not a thing, and Siri wasn't on your phone telling you turn left.
Yes.
So, I fight with my Siri on directions, but
this doesn't totally surprise me.
We get into arguments. I've had Siri actually tell me that they weren't going to talk to me.
Oh, really?
And yeah. Wow. That I could come back when I wanted to be nicer. I was like, wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Apparently you can hurt Siri's feelings. So, Dad forgot map at home. They're lost. It's the desert. It's hot. The thing that I worry about when I am reading this book is gas. I'm like, at some point they're going to run out of gas.
Right.
And then what? You're in the desert.
And I don't know why, well, I guess because they're in the desert, but like you'd think that they could stop at a gas station somewhere and buy another map. This is pre-map quest even. This is old school, baby.
This is old school. I mean, this is early 90s. So that was directions from a computer or any source like that where you didn't have to fully just map on a map wasn't a thing. Yeah. I found it interesting how easily they are isolated. Like the presumption is they left in the morning and it's like early afternoon. So they really aren't that far from home, but it makes you wonder where exactly they are because they haven't seen any other cars. They're in the middle of nowhere. They, like you, to your point, there aren't gas stations. So it's just like, oh my.
Yeah.
What happened here?
Yeah. The assumption is that they're, I don't know, are they in like Arizona or some desert state where it's like leave the neighborhood and then nothing for 800 miles.
I guess. But I also kind of wonder at what point do they switch into this idea of supernatural is afoot? Are they isolated and lost because this magical road shifted or are they just boneheads? And this is what happens when you don't prepare.
I took it at face value that they're just boneheads, but I like your version better.
Well, the only reason I say that is because we next stumble upon a huge billboard where there's this theme park called HorrorLand being advertised 1 mile away. And I have to feel like even lost, more people would kind of stumble upon that.
True. Yeah. And I mean, the TV episode, which not to get too far ahead, but like that definitely hints at something supernatural afoot.
Yeah. The TV episode, I feel like, definitely goes the supernatural route. Like they were lured in through supernatural pretenses, almost like this place appeared
Mm-hmm.
because they're lost. But with this, I kind of wonder if they just got so lost that this place in the middle of nowhere is what happens when people get lost. Like,
Yeah.
not to 3 Haunted Jr. on you,
Do it.
but do it. But there's this paranormal game called 11 Mile Road. And if you drive on a road that's 11 miles, the idea is that if you're looking for a supernatural experience, you just drive. And this road will appear before you, but it's not like, oh, magically it appears. It just happens to be something that you end up on the path on. And then once you're on it, you just kind of have to ride it through, literally, for 11 miles. But if you can go through this entire 11 miles without stopping, without turning around, without jumping out of your car, because weird things happen inside of your car while you're going along this experience. If you can do that, and you can do it without turning around to look in the back seat, then you get some wishes granted. Like a whole I'm off track here. But same kind of idea. Does this road to Horrorland appear because they're lost?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's the version I want.
I kind of feel like it's a place that isn't on a map.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a physical location. It's a situational location.
Right. I'm into that for sure.
Into that. Horrorland, the situational happenstance.
Yes.
I can't even say that. Words, what are they?
Happenstance.
Happenstance. So they decide to go to Horrorland because they're like, oh man, I just want to get out of this car.
Right.
I want to have fun and it looks scary. And to be honest, if I was a kid at that age and I saw a billboard like that, I'd probably say, yeah, let's go. Let's see what it's about.
Right. As an adult, you probably would.
I mean, I would. But this book is for children.
I know.
So even as a child, I would have been like, yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the parents were down to go. And I get it. Like, they're lost. So they're just like, maybe someone there will know how to get back to where we need to be. But it's still like, they were very go with the flow.
They were. Maybe they just really had to find a bathroom. I don't know. I mean,
even when their car exploded, what did they do? Like, granted, they were upset, but they're like, okay, kids, will you go have fun? We're going to find a phone. Your car just exploded.
Yeah.
Like, we're pulling up into this parking lot, going up to the gate, boom, car explodes. And yeah, rightfully so. They're like, what the heck just happened? No idea what happened. But then their next solution is, will you guys go have fun, stay together? We're going to find a phone, okay?
Make good choices.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it is supernatural. Maybe it is clouding the parents' mind. Maybe this is all in the mind of the children. I don't know. Because the parents are kind of non-entities at a certain point.
Yeah, I think about it as a parent at this stage in time. I wouldn't do that, but I guess I have to walk it back and say, I guess in the 80s and 90s, we were a little bit more on our own because parents are like, I got to do the adulting. So y'all don't die.
I certainly was. As a kid, I was like, parents, what's that?
What's that? We don't have those. So maybe like we had a lot more autonomy at a younger age because our parents are like, yo, I got to actually adult.
Right.
You just, again, don't die. Don't let each other die. Keep it real.
Right.
So perhaps that's what the scenario was. But I feel like if my mom's car exploded on a family road trip, her answer wouldn't be, okay, you guys go ride some rides. We're going to get this sorted.
Yeah. It's a good
Maybe.
point. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to believe it would be, you're going to stay with me. We got to get on a bus or whatever as quickly as possible. But
Right. There's but one bus a day to Horrorland.
But one.
But one.
And they only ride, they never depart. So, yeah. So they go in, and it's funny because they keep seeing all these signs for no pinching. And it's like, well, that's strange, but sure, go for it. And kids decide the first ride they want to ride is the Doom Slide.
Right. Which there's a little foreshadowing to the pinching thing, because is it Luke or Clay that's like the pinch master or some stupid name that's
I think it's Luke, because Luke keeps pinching Clay and Lizzie. Right. So yes, we have some, story elements that ironically work well with each other. Luke likes to pinch, and then there's, look, Luke, no pinching. So yeah, irony's not lost on me. They played that in, and it's fun, subtle.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be honest, reading about the Doom slides sounded fun to me.
Yeah.
10 number slides, you get to pick which one and hope the one doesn't send you on the ride to end your life.
I mean, I'd be down. Yeah.
I mean, Clay, the weeniest child of them all, is the one that happens to pick the slide of doom, which I think is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
To these children's credit, though, when Clay didn't come out, they looked for Clay. They're trying to find Clay. Now, they could have just been like, let me go find parents. But they're like, we need to go find Clay. And I love that they chose his slide not knowing what to expect. They're like, yo, my friend didn't come out of that slide. I'm going to go down. And I don't know if I feel like that's not smart or I feel like it's extremely brave, but also extremely stupid.
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Your kid friend, your friend disappeared on this slide. You're like, let me give it a go. Let's find him.
Right. Yeah, I mean, is he doing that thing that we all did, like in the McDonald's play place, where he's like arms and feet stretched out and holding himself in the tunnel?
Fully just like pressing yourself. I mean, it's possible. Okay. I learned not to do that after someone slammed into me.
Yeah.
I used to do that, and then a much bigger child slammed into me, and that hurt so much that I was like, I'm never doing that again as a kid. They take slide 10, and slide 10 actually sounds really fun. Yeah. That sounds like a hell of a ride. Literally, there's fire simulated in there. So sounds like an awesome ride that goes on almost too long. And then they find Clay at the bottom, lo and behold. And he's like, that was so fun.
I've been waiting for you guys. Where were you?
Like, what the heck? Y'all took forever.
Yeah.
Just like the slide.
I like the idea of going on a really long slide, but I'm mentally like asking myself, what is too long on a slide? Is it 30 seconds? Is it a minute?
I think if you have time to think, then it's too long. Like the second Luke was like, I think like this ride's going on way too long. That's too long.
Yeah.
You had time to think, I'm starting to get bored.
Right.
Is this going to end?
That implies either boredom or panic that it's not going to end, which both of those are not good. So
yeah, not great, not great. Yeah. So they decide they're not, super into Horrorland. And I feel like, don't they go on the mirror one after that?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think at that point, they're still kind of having fun. They see the ominous people going to the lake where supposedly there are alligators. Because at this point, they are seeing families. They're seeing families with kids that are crying everywhere. But they're also seeing people have fun. Like, we're going to go swimming. Yay. And so it's a mixed bag. Because I feel like if everywhere they went, kids were crying, they probably would have left a lot sooner. Or panicked sooner.
This is true. Yeah.
But they're seeing both. They're seeing kids have fun. They're going to go swimming, probably to be eaten in the lake. But they also are experiencing the kids that are crying, which that happens at amusement parks. You see both. You see it all.
You do. It happens everywhere. You go to Walmart. They're happy children, crying children.
I cry at Walmart.
I do
so
too.
I like Target.
Hell yeah.
This is not an ad.
But Target, if you're interested, we're looking for a sponsor.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if they'd sponsor us.
A little too R-rated.
I don't know.
I'll wear Bullseye merch.
Every day I'll wear a Bullseye merch. I mean, he's a cute dog.
He is.
So they end up going, if I recall, I'm trying to recall the rides correctly, but I believe they next go in the Maryland, right?
I'm pretty sure that's right, yeah.
Okay. And then Maryland scares them because they get separated. The mirrors end up closing in on them, but they still have fun because the bottom gives way right when they think they're going to be smushed and they slide out of the ride. So it's terrified them for a moment. They're like, I'm going to smush and die. And then at the end, when it drops out, they're like, oh, ha, 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 that was okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. You're fine. I didn't cry. I didn't pee. Mm-mm. So and then from there, that's right. From there, because they only did technically like the 3 rides. They did the slides. Well, 3 rides before they meet up with the parents. They did the slides, the mirrors, and then they go through the barn. Right. Where like the doors close and the bats attack.
Yeah.
And for me, Monsterland, I feel like monsters are another species, but I feel like the Bats barn was more supernatural. Because they're being bitten and attacked and swarmed by bats in the dark. But then as soon as the lights come on, the bats aren't there. To me, that felt more supernatural than it did like monsters.
I would agree with that. I had actually completely forgot about this particular segment because it didn't stand out like the others to me.
Yeah, for me, I think it stood out just because that's the first time I think they realized that this isn't practical effects, that this is potentially real horror. And, you know, they're half expecting to see like scratches and bites on them because they're feeling that. They're feeling scratched. They're feeling bitten. And, you know, lights on a second later because I believe it's Luke opens the barn doors and there's absolutely nothing there. And so that's when they're suddenly like, we got to get the hell out of here. I do feel like in all of their experiences with the rides, each ride significantly gets, if you want to call it a ride, a little bit more terrifying. But this is the first one where I do feel was more supernatural than it was like mental horror, mental effects.
It's the one I definitely wouldn't want to do. I can say that for sure.
Anything biting me and crawling in my hair, that's going to be a no for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell no.
I like the idea of being like spooked by it, but I don't want it actually happening.
Right.
The illusion.
Honestly, they didn't choose to go through this because it was a ride. They're trying to get from one path of the park to the other side of the park to find their parents because they're kind of over it. And that just fully sets them off. And the nice thing is right after that, on the path, they do run into their parents who have been looking for them.
Hopefully, yeah.
And they find their parents. And of course, you know, parents are like, well, we couldn't find a phone. I want to go on a ride. And the kids are like, no, we don't want to go on a ride. And the parents are like, no, I want to try at least one ride. So, of course, they go on a ride.
Right. The quote unquote safest ride.
The coffin cruise. I'll be honest, it sounded like fun until they get downriver. So the idea of just kind of floating along a river in this like coffin boat, I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. Cute little horror theme. But as soon as they're like the lids shut on them, I'm like, oh, nope. That's a nope, nope, nope.
That's a triple nope.
That's a triple nope because claustrophobia, anyone?
Yeah. Yeah. And inside of a coffin, it's like, I don't know. There's something extra haunting about that. I
would have had a full-on panic attack. Like, if a monster didn't kill me, the coffin ride would have, just from pure mental terror.
Yeah, for sure.
And the spiders. So not only do I have a claustrophobia thing, I am super arachnophobic.
Right.
And so like that ride, reading that, I was like, nope, 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 nope. You remember Batman from the Lego movie when Alfred's like trying to get him to go to the the children's charity and he's like, nope, nope, noping all the way up the stairs? That would have been me.
That would be you.
Just nope, nope, noping all the way up.
Great reference, by the way.
Nope, 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 nope. So, yes, that would have been a no for me. But again, as soon as the things open, they don't see the spiders. So to me, again, that's a supernatural kind of thing going on because they feel them literally crawling all over them, and then the doors pop open and nothing there.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if RL thought this far into it. Like, should I define monsters versus supernatural? In full disclosure, I didn't think that hard about it, but
I'm a freak. I was 300 junioring everything.
It's your brain. Like it's the way your brain works. And I think that's awesome.
Thank you. Because even with like horror movies, if we want to geek out for a moment, horror movies, monster movies, creature films are a different subgenre than supernatural. Yeah. So for me, when I'm reading this book, I'm like, okay, the monsters are a creature. They're just a different like species, if we will. They're just a different category.
Right. And
then we've got these elements of like, whoa, is that supernatural? Or did they give them like hallucinogenics? Like what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And I guess that's also possible. They're just pumping hallucinogenics into the rides.
Yeah. Which could be a thing.
Right. But also probably illegal.
Yeah. I mean, but do you think they're caring about illegal if they're trying to eat them? Methinks that's on the bottom of their worry list.
Well, when the inspector comes by.
They'll eat him too.
Yep. He's first to
after
go.
Giving him hallucinogenics.
Yeah.
So, at that point, mom and dad are really angry because they're like, wow, that was not okay. And, they try to escape. They get to the gate and they realize, there's a sign, no exit. Nobody leaves HorrorLand alive. Part of me wants to be a smartass and be like, so we leave dead? Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's how I read it.
In which case, are you leaving because you died there?
Well, I mean, then we get into the debate of the soul, right?
The spirits, the ghosts.
The spirits, yeah.
Because again, we have some paranormal at play here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, your zombie could leave.
Do they turn them into zombies? That'd be cool.
That'd be fun. Yeah. That'd be really fun.
People zombies. Can monsters be zombies? Like, can a monster get bitten by a zombie and turn into a zombie monster? Or does it negate because they're both monsters? I don't know.
I would think that they could become zombies, right? Like unless they have a protected blood type, like they're the possums and they can't get rabies, like
the possums. I mean, fair. Maybe zombies have a disease that's only a blood pathogen for like human blood. So anything else is just the squirrels are like, hey, because it's only for humans. But right. If it's like something that can jump species, can a monster be a zombie? And then is it a zombie monster or would we call it something else? Like a mombi?
A mombi? Ooh, mombi's good.
A monbi.
Monbi? Lou Bega's Monbi number 5.
So we got our Monbis.
Yes.
And there we go. Look at that. We got a new RL book. And so workers come, capture them, take them to this fountain, and they're just like, or this pit of death that doubles. Did it read as like a fountain, but that's also like a pit of death?
I definitely thought that there was water involved in some capacity.
Yeah, I feel like I thought I heard found him, but I think it was filled with something else. But I don't know. I don't remember it 100%. But
Yeah.
I like that. Maybe I'm mixing it up, but I feel like, oh no, before that, it's the game show, right? They put them on the game show because at that point they're like, haha, we have Monster TV, come to our
Right.
game show.
Yeah.
And they go through there and they're all being, I legit thought they were all going to be killed by monsters, considering that each one is trapped by a monster, but then the game ends and it's like, you survived,
Right.
yay. And I'm like, they didn't even make it to the end. So
No.
how did they survive? How did they win?
This is where I don't know, I kind of felt like the writing fell apart towards the end here.
I think he got a little sloppy
Yeah.
with the game show part because it was like you have to make it all the way through to the other side to win.
Mm-hmm.
But then while they're all in perilous situations and each one has their own monster that's about to kill them, lights come on and it's like, oh, yay, we all won. And that's when mom and dad figure out, wait, I think those were real. I don't think this is fake.
Thanks for finally catching up, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, they're a little slow. So then they leave and everyone's like, you're a winner.
Mm-hmm.
And go to the fountain where it's like the pit of death is there.
Yeah.
They're about to all be pushed in and they realize these are all monsters, real monsters.
Ah, real monsters.
And then smart little Lizzie says, Luke, do what you do best. Use the force. Pinch them.
Pinch the force.
Pinch the force. And actually, I think it's Lizzie who does it because she remembers the signs. So she just kind of goes out on a limb and says, screw it. I mean, I figure, if you're about to be pushed into something and die, you might as well try. First instinct to protect yourself isn't necessarily pinching, but she went with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you know? It worked.
It worked. They deflated like a balloon.
Yeah.
I kind of have to wonder, though. Like, did it make the actual sound of a deflating balloon? Because I really, in my head, I heard it. And I'm like, this is hilarious. They're all just pinching every monster. And it's like,
yeah.
And I love it. They're like pinching left and right. And, there's samurai pinchers. They're just like,
yeah.
And it works. But that's enough. They're like, oh, they figured out our weakness. And off they run.
Never to be pinched from again. Yeah, I mean,
You did that really well.
Thank you. I double as a vocal artist for balloon deflation.
For balloon foley.
Yeah. But no, our mindset when we were reading this was in the same place because I was kind of cracking up at one, how stupid this is, and two, yeah, or even worse, the really kind of pooty sounding balloons.
Poopy sounding. You could double as a whoopee cushion.
Yeah.
So, of course, at that point, they're able to, duck and run and get out of there. And I love that because, of course, as we recall, their car was blown up at the beginning.
Yep.
They have to get out somehow. And so they steal a bus because there were HorrorLand buses, which makes me wonder if there are HorrorLand buses, who are they busing in?
Bunch of olds. It's like the tour buses that my grandma used to take me on as a kid, where I was the youngest person by 30 years, and we would go places. So they're just luring a bunch of old people into HorrorLand, I guess.
My mind went a little darker, and I was wondering, are they picking up kids from field trips at schools and then just not bringing them back?
Yep, that's darker.
Yep, I agree. That is. Or is this because they all work there in the middle of nowhere? Is this how the monsters get home? I don't know.
Oh, that's cute.
That's cute. They bust them in, bust them out. I love that. Oh, that's cute. I don't know. This is like a little happy bus. Yeah. But either way, right. It's okay, so they steal an empty bus. Luckily for them, the keys are in there. Yay them. So it doesn't count as Grand Theft Auto because they're stealing a monster's car. And I mean, to be fair, the monsters blew up their cars. So, yeah.
If only they stole a monster truck.
Bah. Actually, they blew up their car. Did they blow up everybody's car that's there? Because I feel like all these families that they run into.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being like, man, do you know where the phone is? My car got blown up. Oh my God, you too? Me too? Me 5? Like all of our cars blew up? That tells me it's probably not the radiator.
Right. It's weird that happened to all of us, but there's absolutely nothing strange going on.
Who wants to try the doom slide?
That's the level of dense of these parents. Let's go on the coffin cruise. Yeah, they serve alcohol.
I mean, and everyone's hungry, and the monsters are too. You would think that the monsters would at least have food for them to feed them so that they'd be nice and plump for eating.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But instead, they're like, I'm so hungry. We can't find any restaurant open. Sorry, guys.
Mm-hmm. Got to get a monster burger from Hardee's. Also not sponsored.
I wonder if they have monster margaritas.
Ooh. I would try that.
I'd drink it all.
I'd drink that milkshake.
So they steal the bus, drive home, and like the monsters try and stop them, but they're able to get away. They get all the way home. So they magically are able to find their way back to the highway, which tells me again, if they're able to find their way back so quickly, the way they got there was probably supernatural in some way.
You're right. Yeah.
So they easily find their way back to the highway and get home. And lo and behold, they get home and this little baby monster clinging to the back. Poor guy, he's all the way far away from home.
I know.
He's a hard worker. He just like walks up to them and they're ready to kill the dude. They're ready to pinch him. And he's like, wait. I'm just here to give you your passes for next year. Have a good day. And runs off. Kind of makes you wonder, is he going to like take the bus back or is he going to like hitch a ride back? Is there a monster like transport system nearby? And he's like, it's cool. I got it.
It's in the sewers.
Because he just runs off.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just in the sewers hanging with the turtles. Like, I don't know. It's.
That's where Master Splinter came from.
Yeah.
He's a monster from HorrorLand.
He is the ooze. But I like the idea that he just took the bus and like, bye bitches.
Bye bitches. I almost feel like he wanted to escape Horrorland. He's like, oh, I gotta go with them guys because they need their passes for next year. So, yeah, I gotta go. I'll be back. Mm-hmm. I don't know when, but I will. Okay. I think he just wanted out. He's like, I'm tired of this place, guys.
Mm-hmm. I want to go to Disneyland.
When have you ever seen happy amusement park workers outside of Disney?
Oh, never.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They usually look grouchy and underpaid. And I'm just saying, he's like, I'm going to go get a job working for the mouse. So
right. I'll be the guy inside of the Maleficent dragon.
He's like, whatever. I'm just out of here. Okay. He's like, he wants to go run that. It's a Small World ride. I'm just saying, he had the right idea. He's like, I'm out of here, guys. This is my ride out. I have your passes. Peace. Off he ran into the night. So ultimately, like, what did you think about the book?
The book is okay to me. Like, I didn't have the best time reading it. It might have also been the headspace I was in when I was reading it. I don't know. I will fully acknowledge that, but it was fun until the end, right? Like I feel like we're running into this quite a bit with some of the more recent stories where the end just feels kind of half thought, maybe.
It feels rushed. The end, I feel like he doesn't know how to end it, so he just rushes it.
Right.
Like, well, if I do it quickly, they won't catch on that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I hope that's not consistent for the rest of the series, but it seems to have been a regular thing since he started doing one a month.
Yes. Honestly, for me, I remember as a kid loving the heck out of the cover. Like, the cover
Hmm.
is what made me want to go to the Scholastic Book Fair and get the darn book.
Right.
Like, I checked it out from the library, and then when it was at the Scholastic Fair, I was like, "Mom, please, I'll do whatever." And I was just amped to read it. One, because I love carnivals. Like, people don't know this about me, but I absolutely love, love, love carnivals. Like, and I mean actual carnivals. I'm not talking amusement parks. Like, I love the
Hmm.
dinky carnivals with the rides that probably will fall apart at some point within that weekend, but I love them.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very small town where there was absolutely nothing to do. And once a year, the carnival would come into town. And you had all the rides with the carnival food and the music. And it was like the happiest place for me. Like, once a year, I was just like, I would look forward to the fair. And so for me, when seeing a book that included both of those worlds, I loved scary things and I loved carnivals. And if you look at it, I mean, yes, it's an amusement park technically, but you've got the Ferris wheel and the ride and you've got the monster. And I'm like, I'm so excited. And I loved it. And I will say I love the cover more than I love the book.
I will 100% agree with you on that. And I love your story. That's so, I mean, it's very similar to mine actually. Like I grew up in a pretty small town and every year we would have those rinky dink little carnivals where you knew the rides were going to crash. You just hoped you weren't on them when they did.
Yes.
And I love that so much. I mean, it's just the colors and the feeling of it all. It was special. And I miss that as an adult. Sometimes they
Yeah.
pop up near me and I'm like, I just kind of want to go over there and see.
I still get amped like a child when I see those. I'm like, oh my God, the fair's in town. We
Yeah.
gotta go. Like, it just, in every part of it too, from
Hmm.
the rides to the food, like funnel cakes, that is such a
Yeah.
happy memory for me. And like the caramel apples
Mhm.
and like just all of that experience for me was something every year I looked forward to and still as an adult gets me happy.
Yeah.
And so having that combined on the cover and within a book that is like scary, spooky, I was very amped for as a kid. And seeing the cover reminded me of that. I'm like,
Oh.
oh, yay. Reading it as an adult, rereading it, the rides were still fun. I didn't realize how scary certain scenes were that I must have just not been phased as a kid.
Right.
Because, and it is not saying it scared me as an adult, but I'm like, wow, that's actually really tense for a kid's book.
Yeah.
And like the kids not knowing if their parents were killed,
Right.
that even if you find out they weren't just a few sentences later, just that moment of, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
their parents were killed.
Yeah.
That is a lot for a kid's book, but I enjoyed the book. I thought the rides and the way they built up the land was fun. I thought the way they ended it was fun. It was cute. But to your point, how they rushed the ending in between the the game show.
Right.
The game show felt out of nowhere, by the way. That felt completely random.
Yeah.
He had a good pacing of like the rides getting scarier, scarier, and then all of a sudden game show. I'm like, where did that come from?
Right. And I think the book would be better without that sequence. Like, give us another ride, and then all of a sudden, like, have them be confronted by the monster or the horrors. And I don't know, like, there's ways to do it that don't involve the dumb game show.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I know the terrifying part in that was to be chased by monsters and the idea of like your parents are probably dead. That could have happened on an actual ride versus a game show. That could have been a fun house, which you
Yeah.
see at carnivals,
Oh, yeah.
versus this is a game show. So I do feel with that, if I had to guess, is that RL had two monster world ideas and he tried to force them into one. And it just didn't quite play out.
Yeah. Should have waited. I mean, eventually we would revisit Horrorland.
HorrorLand.
So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's funny because much like with The Haunted Mask, which we felt similarly about, this is one of RL's favorite books. And I'm just like, am I reading the same thing you are, guy? Like it's confusing to me.
He has a soft spot for monsters.
Seems to be. And I mean, I do too, arguably, but like it's I don't know, just something about these books don't quite click for me.
It feels disjointed at some point. In this one, it was the game show kind of disjointed out. I feel like they pulled it back in, with them escaping, but really the game show was an obstacle in the flow. And I feel like he had, up until that point, built a really nice flow
Right.
in this book. That unfortunately was so jarring and different in tone, in context, in everything else that it was like, oh, that you almost don't recover coming back into it. So
yeah, and then the pinching thing suddenly feels almost Looney Tunes. You know what I mean? Like I get that it's what we've been hinting at this whole time, but why is that the thing that pops the horrors? Like I don't get it.
do you think that was supposed to be tension relief? Like that's the Looney Tunes aspect of it,
Could have
is
been.
the tension relief for something that he was concerned might come across too scary, especially after the reception from Welcome to Dead House.
Yeah. Or Scholastic forced him to do something campy. I don't
A
know.
little silly because they can't straight have kids killing, full on killing. So it's like, well, how do we have them destroy, but in a cute way?
Right. I mean, that's the most likely thing, I would think.
I don't know.
I don't know. But when the pinching thing started happening, I was like, hold on a minute. What is this?
I think the problem with the pinching thing is that it came too close after the game show thing. So it all felt just silly.
Right.
I think if that had been the only tension relief, the only silly, it might have worked a little better. But because it immediately went silly with the game show and welcome to Monster TV. Here's our game show.
Yeah.
And then pinching, and then maybe that's why it was so jarring, is because we had scary, 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 scary up until game show.
Mm-hmm.
And then game show is just like from game show until they're running to the bus. It's just straight Looney Tunes, like you
Right.
said. So maybe that's why it feels so out of place, because a little bit of silly to set off the tension works. A lot of bit of silly just feels like two different books.
Right. Yeah. Disjointed is the word. That's the vocab word for this episode.
Disjointed. Now, TV episode.
The TV episode, it's different in ways that, like, okay, so the first half, the first 22 minutes or whatever is pretty spot on. It's what the story that the book is telling. Part 2 is something completely different. I feel like we are missing from the first part. We are missing the doom slide and the barn. And the car does not explode. Instead, we get a weird scene with the guy reaching out of the sewer after he was hanging out with the turtles to put something on the bottom of the car.
Master Splinter. Monster Splinter.
Monster. I love it.
Monster Splinter. They're all significant, though.
Yeah.
For a few reasons. Like, it keeps the tone to an extent, but I feel like they're significant changes because mom and dad have no reason to be separating from them.
Oh, that's true.
With the car, at least it explains it, right? Like, oh, we got to find a phone. Our car exploded. We got to find a way home. But when the car is fine, why in the world are they like, bye?
They wanted to go get one of those monster margaritas.
Apparently. Yeah. Monster martinis.
Woo.
Monstarnies? That sounds weird.
Yeah. Monsterinis.
Monsterinis. That sounds like SpaghettiOs for some reason.
It kind of does, yeah.
Monsterinis.
Mom, can I have SpaghettiOs and Monsterinis? Yeah, like I think the two parts are separated by tone, but I don't think that the runtime does it any favors, and I don't know how well. Again, disjointed, I think, is a good word.
Yeah, I think that by cutting out the doom slide and cutting out the barn, we lose a lot of the terror
Mm-hmm.
tension that was built up in the book. So maybe it doesn't feel as disjointed as the book does when they go into the game show world. But however, it was too long.
It
The
was.
game show section was almost its entire own episode. It was too
Yeah.
long and too much of an emphasis that I'm like, why are we watching Wheel of Fortune monsters version? I don't know.
Right. It's like if the Power Rangers were fighting Pat Sajak. No. Um, but I mean, like, I kept thinking, like, these are the rinky-dink Power Rangers costumes where the mouths don't sync up with the voice, and they're all kind of doing that thing, like that.
Blah,
Just
blah,
that.
blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
The exaggerated head shake because the voice mouths don't move.
Right. But there were things that won me over in the second part. Like, I really did love the Time Life Monster Songs commercial and the human action figures commercial. Those were fun. Those felt straight out of like UHF with Weird Al Yankovic. But like the episode itself was too long. Like the second part.
Yeah, I think if they had integrated in more from the book of like the scary rides and took out less of the game show, it wouldn't have felt as too long. It could have worked as a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're like, we're going to spend almost 20 minutes doing just the game show section, it's like, oof,
Right.
this is brutal. Especially because we felt the game show section didn't work at all for this. So then to be like, well, we're going to emphasize that for 15, 20 minutes. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah. I know. But no pinching, because that was too silly. I don't know.
No pinching.
I will say I did like the coffin cruise section of the episode. Like that looked fun. Like I wanted to kind of do it. And it wasn't supernatural because there was only one spider that was in the coffin with him. So like that's just believable. You're hanging around in jungle waters. There might be a tarantula hanging loose. I don't know.
Jungle waters.
Jungle waters.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I was very entertained with the episode. I don't think that they emphasized the terror of the rides enough. We didn't get to see enough of Horrorland. I mean, we see mom and dad going to get drinks. We see, which I think it's fun that they showed mom and dad more. We don't often get to see the parents' perspectives and what the parents are going through, which they're usually just kind of non-existent off to the side. So that was fun.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like what they are showing us is mom and dad are going to get lit.
That's true.
Yeah. But I don't think they emphasized the scary enough. So it just kind of felt like neutral pacing for a story that was supposed to build up, but the build up was the game show.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. And then we get the surprise twist ending that none of this is real and it's all just on monster television, two monsters sitting at home watching.
Or it is real because it's reality TV for monsters.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what they said in the book.
Right. That's right.
It's reality TV for monsters to watch at home. So, which is actually darker considering how it ends.
I know. Oh, they're definitely dying.
It was a little weird that I feel like in the book, we knew it was kind of this deserty kind of area. In the TV episode, I feel like they didn't know where they were supposed to be because you have seagulls, which means you're near the ocean. And at the end, we see cliffs to an ocean.
Right.
But then there's tumbleweeds and like dirt. And to me, I'm like, that's desert. I don't know where the desert is right next to the ocean.
Yeah. And then the park sometimes looked great, sometimes looked stupid. Like the graphics just like they spent a lot of time on certain things in this episode, and it's like, why though? And
why that?
The monsters didn't look too bad, I didn't think. I mean, their mouths couldn't sync up, but
they look monsters from the 90s. It's what we expected. I mean, their faces were similar to the monsters in the Haunted Mask one.
Yeah.
their faces. So at least that's consistent in like, these are the monsters within the RL Stine world. That
Right.
works. That tracks. I love how they conveniently parked right over a manhole. And like, you see this creepy hand placing a device. I thought it was a bomb because when I read the book, I mean, they blow up the car, and I'm just like, the car doesn't explode at the beginning. So then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to explode the family at the end?
That would be, yeah.
As they're getting away, like, that's what I thought that was. That looked like a detonator, I'm going to be honest. Boosh.
Car explodes and then the black and green slime appears. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
and the one guy runs out, you forgot your tickets for next.
I forgot to give them their tickets.
Just burning Morris's.
It was fun. I will say this, even though it was not present in the book, I thought it was super fun that one of the first things they see is a monster carrying a girl's head, and she's talking to them.
Yeah, that was nice.
And she's like, but you told me I could talk to strangers. I'm like, okay, that's humorous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just had to check. I just verified this. Ripper the Killer Beast that we see very briefly in the episode is the same thing that was Saber in the Welcome to Camp Nightmare episode.
Oh, the same
same
effect creature,
yeah. They just recycled it.
Hey, budget.
Right.
Budgeting, although they don't seem to be spending their budget on wise choices.
No, they don't.
Because that's the other thing. A lot of the stuff that was budgeted on for CGI effects in the TV episode had nothing to do with the book, so it almost felt unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like the huge, elaborate supernatural of the sign before they even go to Horrorland. Like, there's all these, I don't even know what to call that. Like, you just see all these like lights and creature faces coming away from the billboard like it's some kind of, I don't even want to say hologram. I don't know what to call that, but it's like you see this and it's supposed to be kind of this supernatural effect, and it's like, that wasn't even necessary.
No, you could have had a dumb billboard. That would have been enough to get me there as a kid.
And I mean, as much as I thought it was fun and liked the scene of the girl with the head, her being headless and talking, or bodiless and talking, that's a lot of money on CGI that wasn't necessary. So
you're not wrong.
Which they could have spent on a Doom slide.
I know. Make better decisions.
Yes. And I'm sad they didn't include Clay. I feel like a third character would have really rounded them out. What they did was combine the characteristics of Luke and Clay. So you have the whininess of Clay and the scary of Clay with Luke, but then you also have Luke's sassiness. And it's like, just leave it as two separate characters.
Right. Yeah. Because it seems like Luke has sort of a split personality almost. He's different people at different times in the episode.
He really is. And kids can oscillate in their reactions, absolutely. But his were so different in contrast that it did kind of feel a little split personality.
Yeah. He goes from, what are you, scared, to, oh, my side.
Oh, my side hurts. I can't do this anymore. Hey, that was fun. Let's do it again. Like, what in the world? I don't even know what to say to you.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I didn't like the cliffhanger of this episode. I would have preferred the monster with the tickets, but
yeah,
you know, that's just creative choice, I suppose.
I'm with you. I would have really preferred just the car to blow up at the end. Like, that would be funny.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, but this is a kid's book show thing. If I had my way, absolutely.
Yeah.
They would have just, oh, they're out. They got out through the gate, and then boom. It looked like a detonator. It looked like an explosive under their car, and he looked like he was holding a detonator.
I know.
But I mean, they still went pretty dark. He was going to drive them off a cliff, and then, you know, the monster paused it and was like, human TV is too scary.
Yeah. I don't know. We need to do Ashley and Gary rewrite Goosebumps, like, episodes.
If you could fix this episode, what would you change? Or not episode, book. If you could change the book, what would you change?
That's pretty easy for me. With the book, I would just completely rewrite the game show element and include another, like I said earlier, a ride that puts them face to face with the monsters and then forces them to find ways to stop them. I would also give each one of them a machine gun. No, machine gun versus pinching. I'll take machine gun. I'm a baby of the 80s.
Go for the choppers.
Arnold never stopped anyone by pinching them.
I mean, but I think if Arnold pinched someone, they likely would deflate. So
100%. 100%.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that would actually work for him.
It works in a pinch.
That was good.
Thank you.
I'm not a policeman. I'm a princess. Oh my gosh. We could go Arnold all day.
Oh, yeah.
There is no bathroom. It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Can you tell I watched a lot of Kindergarten Cop?
I can.
So you'd take out the game show portion. You would give them machine guns. Actually, are we allowed to say that on here? You give them machine pew-pews.
Machine
and pew-pews. And then what else? Anything else? Or would that suffice for you?
Well, so I don't know that I would give them machine pew-pews, but I would want something that like just feels a little more natural with a way to stop them. I don't know what that thing would be, but let me brainstorm on that. But no, I don't think, I mean, outside of that, I think for the most part, it's pretty solid. Like the world building and the rides and all of that. And then I do love the ending of the guy, here's your tickets.
You forgot your tickets for next year.
But yeah, that's what I would change. What about you?
I would definitely take the game show portion out.
Yeah.
And I would put them in a fun house.
Yeah.
Like just a creepy fun house. And that they'd have to all get through it together. Maybe they get separated in the fun house. Maybe that's why they didn't do that, because it's too similar to the mirror house. But like something where they have to go through a building but not a game show. And maybe in hindsight that is why they went the game show route, because they already did the mirror.
Right.
In which case maybe I would add a middle ride that's completely different. Something having to do with the werewolf village that they hint at. Just like incorporate one of the, because they hinted at a few of the villages, the vampires, the werewolves. So maybe do a ride in there and then end with the fun house that has the mirror world.
Right.
Or mirror section. And then for me, the pinching was fine. I would probably take that out too, just because it felt a little off. But figure out a way to disable the monsters that still gets rid of them, still scares them off, but isn't as like cutesy.
Right. Well, I think once you remove the silliness of the game show, then the pinching would feel extra out of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what the right answer there is, but
maybe something like where you remove their masks. If you can get their mask off, I know it's their face, but maybe it's not. Maybe we change that and they're monsters, but part of their monster is the mask. So when you take that off, they kind of disintegrate.
Oh, what if they're the monsters from the Haunted Mask?
I considered that.
Yeah.
I considered that the monsters that live at HorrorLand are the people that couldn't get their monster masks off.
I love that.
It'd be a way to tie in the universe, and I do love that. Come on, RL.
Which we haven't watched the new series. Maybe that's what they do. Or maybe they're listening right now and stealing our idea for season 2.
Right. They're like, guys, take notes. I mean, that would be a really neat way to connect the worlds and make the monsters scarier and really solidify the idea that if you can't get the mask off, you do turn into a monster. And so by them putting them in Horrorland, because like what happens to those people that turn into monsters? Well, they created a whole amusement park and they're going to eat people.
Yeah.
And so by getting that mask off, yay, it's kind of a happy ending because you save the human, but it's also you're getting rid of the monsters.
Right. And potentially saving the humans inside the monsters.
Yes, I love that. Look at us. Woo.
We did it.
We're amazing. So that's how I would change it if I were to change the book. Now, for me, if I were to change the TV episode, it would be always to match the book better. So,
yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know. I do kind of like the commercials though, but that's the only thing that I would keep.
But that would have to be part of the game show, unless they're walking by. You know how they have like TV billboard things in amusement parks? Unless they're walking by one and it's like playing throughout the park. That would be a way to integrate it in.
Yeah, just a little levity. But but it doesn't need to be there. I just appreciated that it was. As a 90s kid who ate that shit up.
Who ordered all the BMG albums. Is it BMG? Was it BMG? Okay.
Time Life and BMG, yeah.
There you go. Those subscriptions.
That's it.
So
am I still subscribed? Where I stand. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, you are.
I wish.
If anybody is, it's you. Wax Nostalgic Gary.
My hat's off to you, my lady.
All right. So I feel like we both agree where we stand on book or TV episode, which one we prefer. Although I don't know, the TV episode might win for you just based on the monster commercials.
No, I've got to be a responsible adult and pick the better option, which is the book.
I love that. I have to be a responsible adult. I picked the kids' book.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then I would say I picked the TV episode. No, I'm just kidding. I picked the book. I always come on. I definitely feel the TV episodes as presented could have been consolidated into one. If they were going to stick truer to the book, I could see it being 2 complete episodes.
Yeah, yeah. But it almost felt like there were 2 writers, and I almost wonder if each episode was written by a different writer.
It shows.
Yeah, right. Like one's a horror, one's a comedy. And they never quite merge.
They didn't even get close to merging.
They didn't even have their blinkers on.
They're not even in the same family. Where does this rate for you in what we've read so far? Top of the pack, bottom of the pack, middle of the pack? He was the leader of the pack. Vroom, vroom.
This would definitely be in the middle for me. I don't know if it'd be high middle or low middle though. That's the real question. Because I didn't love it at the time that I read it, but I have enjoyed talking about it with you more. And if we wrote it, it would be at the top of the fucking list. No,
it'd be number fucking 1.
Hell yeah.
I'd like it to be noted Gary swore first, and I thought I was the swear wolf.
Hey now.
Hey.
I'm the Gerewolf.
Uh-huh. So Gerewolf, for you, middle of the pack. For me, I would say it is a low middle.
Okay.
Just because of the game show element and like that really disjointed element going on.
Yeah. I think it would probably tilt towards low for me too. I'm excited to see how all this comes together when we're through all the season 1 episodes and we can kind of just like step back and be like, okay, let's map it out.
We're going to map it. We're going to map these like a Dexter map, serial killer Goosebumps map.
And if the dad in the car mapped it, he would lose it.
Ayo.
Hey.
He can't quest his way to this map. You're welcome.
That was just for me, wasn't it?
It was. Mr. MapQuest. So then, what is our next book, Gary?
We are diving into book number 17, Why I'm Afraid of Bees.
P.S. I don't love bees, so...
I'm with you.
So this is going to be interesting. I did read this. In all fairness, I did read this. I don't remember it, so we'll see. We'll see what I remember. What about you? Did you read it?
I remember looking at it in the library a lot, but I don't, because it's got a very, familiar cover to it. But
It does.
I don't know if I've ever read this one. The protagonist's name is Gary, though, so it's got to be good.
Someone does have that name.
In 1994.
I mean, I didn't know any Garys back then, so they had to be a kid at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like, the only Garys I've heard of or known have been adults.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I'm like, but once upon a time they were kids. Why have I never met a kid named Gary?
I was a kid once.
You still are.
So there you go.
Wonderful.
You've met one.
Hello, kid named Gary.
Grown-ass kid.
Grown-ass kid. He's a grown-ass kid. I'm a grown-ass kid.
That's me.
I'm going to start saying that. I'm going to walk around saying, I'm a grown-ass kid.
You do that. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We need shirts that say that. Grown-ass kids.
There we go. Adding it to the list.
Grown-ass goosebumps.
Ooh. Is that what we call our rewrite podcast?
Yes. Oh, yes. Grown-ass goosebumps. It's our fan fiction.
I like it.
So that should have been our podcast name. And then because we have ass in the title, they would have not aired it very well. So, hey, welcome back.
Target definitely wouldn't sponsor us there.
Aw, but we'll wear bullseye. Wow.
Thank you. I've watched a lot of Target commercials.
All right. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to Listeners Beware. Are you looking for more spooky podcast content? Check out 3 Haunted Podcasts, where Ashley and friends talk about all the things that go bump in the night.
And if you are looking for something that's not quite as spooky, but still nostalgic, check me out at the Wax Nostalgic Network. And also, find us on Instagram at Listeners Beware Podcast. All one word. No underscores. None of that bullshit. Just one word, Listeners Beware Podcast.
Until next time. He wants to go run that It's a Small World ride. Which, by the way, is totally a horror ride.
No wonder I love it so much.
50 million dolls singing the same song on repeat for 30 minutes. Like, and put me out of my misery. Where's the coffin when you need it?
Imagine Small World, but in a coffin. That's how I'm going to start pitching my theme park.
Small Worlds, but in a coffin.
Yeah. It's a world of death and a world of fear.
Oh my God. I used to do that, and then a much bigger child slammed into me, and that hurt so much that I was like, I'm never doing that again as a kid.
Was it me? Because I'm pretty sure I slammed into someone doing that once.
Yeah, I think it was. It was you. It was, wow. How dare you? I'm still traumatized.
I'm sorry.
You're forgiven. Pretty sure it wasn't you. Probably Are you not. A Texas boy, Gary?
I mean, yeehaw.
We don't say yeehaw.
Golly Bob howdy.
What in the hell?
I don't know. I've barely been to Texas.
That's statism. So
I'm from North Carolina. I don't have room to talk.
Right.